Thank you, David. And then I almost did what I'm not allowed to do, which is give you a hug. Wonderful. Now listen, everybody. Sit down. You can sit down in front of the television here as well. You don't need to stand up anymore. I hope you were all standing up for the singing. I just feel that this praise song, great is your faithfulness, my God. Every day you're with us. You are my future, my hope is in your name. And I just feel soon, my friends, soon, we will sing praise songs together again. It's not that I've got more information than you have, but really, it's coming. So let's hold on to that. And I've discovered, I think you've also discovered, there is nothing, and sometimes we exaggerate, but there is nothing that can be compared with a room full of people who are lifting their hands and praising God. You know, it's something, we are longing for this. It's fantastic. So soon, let's say this to each other a lot. Soon, if it's in a week, if it's in half a year, whatever, imagine that day. It's going to be fantastic. Yes. We're going to read Luke chapter 9, and I'm going to read 4 verses. Yeah. Verse 23 to 26. And I'm just going to read them. And we're going to go through a little bit verse per verse. And in verse 23 he says, then he told them, to us, what they can expect. If anyone intends to come with me, he or she has to let me lead. Every day take up their cross and follow me. Don't run from suffering, embrace it. If you follow me, I'll show you how. Whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. What does it help a person if they win the whole world but lose themselves, bleed or become lost? In an older translation, it's to lose your soul, to lose yourself. Whoever is embarrassed about me and who I am, I and my Father will also be ashamed of that person when it comes in his glory. So we're going to go through these verses. Now the first thing Jesus says is, if someone wants to follow me, he should deny himself and every day take up his cross and follow me. And for me, this is a question about what does that mean? How do I deny myself? And of course, it's easy to see this as a difficult thing, something with a lot of demands, boring, sad, a little bit lawful, religious. It's like saying no to all fun, and Jesus is saying, do this every day. And I think there is a certain amount of truth in this truth. It can be demanding, it can be tough to follow Jesus. It means, by definition, that I'm no longer doing what I want to do. I'm following him. It could be a day that I'm following Jesus, and just as by definition, maybe Jesus is on the way there, I'm over there, and I say, I want to do this today, Jesus. And Jesus says, yeah, well, I'm going there. So by definition, it's as though I'm to follow someone else. There is a measurement of that I'm doing this, I have to give up myself. Maybe I don't want to go the way Jesus is telling me to go. And in that, I start to question, honestly, if God really wants my best. The basis of all sin, what the serpent says in the Garden of Eden, has God really said that you can't eat anything from the trees in the garden? Does Jesus really want me to deny myself to follow him? Now, there is a price, there's a cost. But if we think about this, and I think this is important to think about this, consider this all the way. If we think about this, we realize that life all the time contains a cost, a price to pay. There will be some kind of self-denial. That I say no to myself. How often do we only do what we feel like? Let me ask this question to you who are watching today. How many days in a year, how many days do you only do what you feel like? I think, and congratulations if you get 2 days every year that you just do whatever you feel like. For most of us, and I don't know if you have many of those days, no, we don't have those kind of days. And I'm just going to do everything I want to every day. No. Now this tells us something. That's not how we live our lives. And I had this realization, this silly thing I was thinking of. The clothes I have on myself, are they things that I've chosen? Or is there something that I've been affected by others that I should wear? And if you're sitting there in front of the TV and you're thinking, I'm just wearing whatever I feel like, and what I like. And think about bring up a picture of yourself from 20 years ago, and most of us, if we see a picture from that long ago, I think, what was my hair look like? What was I wearing? How did I think that looked nice? And it's not that I've changed my opinion, it's because someone has told me, now you have to do this. Now this is what you have to be doing. The work you do, the job you go to, are you working because you have to or because you want to? The food you eat, are you eating it every day what you want? Oh, we're going to have a fillet of beef again. No. There's always going to be a little bit of self-denial in our lives. Can you get a taxi when you don't feel like cycling? No. Do you buy everything that you feel like buying? Is that good? No, that wouldn't be a good thing. It depends how much money you've got, of course. So, is it okay not to look after your kids for a day because you don't feel like it? No. We don't live our lives that way. And so the truth is that we very often deny ourselves what we want and what we feel like for a number of different reasons. And what could be a better reason to do it than to do it with our eyes wide open, fully conscious, instead of fooling myself that I don't do it? When we deny ourselves, we do it because we're following something else instead, whether we want to or not. And maybe you're sitting at home there, maybe you've got a boring job, and every day you deny yourself what you're feeling when you go to work. Now, I think it this way. If we can do that for those kind of reasons, can't we do it to follow Jesus? It could be quite easy if I can do that to go to work, or I might as well follow Jesus and pay that price. So just now we are following what the authorities have told us about social distancing. We stay at home if we're feeling ill. We don't travel anywhere. We don't go to any parties. Don't greet your old parents and so on. We are following all of these recommendations and all of these limitations that we don't want, that we don't like. They are destroying our economy. They are limiting our lives. Why are we doing this? Because it saves me, it saves others from becoming ill. And besides that, it saves me from that little chance there is of dying. And it's exactly the same reason for following Jesus. There are things that we need to say no to because of a reason. Not because Jesus wants us to have a difficult and demanding on our lives, but because we don't want to be sick, risk dying, not COVID-19 or Corona, not to be sick. And you know, with COVID-19, we make all of these sacrifices so that we won't get hit by something bad. So when we follow Jesus, We are avoiding all the bad things, but we also get all the good things. With Jesus, we're not just doing it not to get ill, it's because we're going to get something better. When we follow Jesus, we get everything that he is. If we are what he is peace, joy, love, power, and all of that I get if I follow him. It may cost a little, so what? It's going to cost us anyway. We are singing about the blessing, but the blessing will follow the one who follows Jesus. In verse 24, Jesus says, whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever will lose his life for my sake will save it. And I think if we see the similarities with COVID-19, if we say the one who wants to steer his life just by himself, just listen to whatever they want to do, that person will risk getting ill in these COVID-19 times and be lost. But the one who doesn't stick to their rights, they will be saved. So saving in this case means to be healed, to be whole. Jesus says, the one who gives up his life for my sake will be whole. And during this time with COVID-19, there are things that we have to reevaluate. We have to reevaluate our lifestyle, things we have taken for granted. We have to consider, is this going to work in the future? And I've considered, since a virus really messes things up for us, everything that we think is normal in our lives. So I'm thinking, are there other things in our lives that have been said so many times, that have been just said over and over again, so we just take it as a truth, though, and it isn't perhaps a real truth. Perhaps it is a myth. Now, I've thought about what are the things that are the great myths. And I think about I, me, myself, my own thoughts here. But let me say, one classical thing I think is this, is the myth that I can find myself. Now, we all know these classical cliches. I can find out who I am. I look inside myself. I can follow my heart. Now, if you Google these things, you will find a whole mess. You'll be bombarded with tips and tricks of how you can find yourself. Now, this sounds nice. We all know what it means. But my question is it true? Is it really something? Is it something that people just say, but it's actually a myth? Or is it true? Now, I don't think it is true. What we really find, what is it that we find when we try to look inside ourselves? Now, I've been listening a little bit to a music group that's called 1975. They've got there's a text that they have, and it's all about like someone wrestling with their belief in God. And at the end of this song, Tim Healy sings, "If I am lost, then how can I find myself?" And this has echoed around in my head. It's a very good question, because the one who is lost, the one who is lost, cannot find themselves. They need to be found. So if we say we're going to find ourselves, we're lost. We can't find ourselves. We need to be found. And that's why Jesus came, to find us, so that we can be found in him, and together with him in our journeying, we can find ourselves. Now, in the Message translation of the Bible, it says in Ephesians 1 and 11, it says, in our life with Christ, that we find out who we are and what we are living for. It's in him we discover it. We are not going to be able to find it ourselves, because to succeed, we need to give up something to lose our own lives, to find it in him. If we lose our own lives, he will find us. And you can ask ourselves, it's worth it. What is it we're looking for? If I say, what I'm going to find these answers inside myself, what am I looking for? Is it the child in me? Is it the teenager in me? Is it the young adult in me, the father in me, the one who I'm going to be when I'm old? Because right now I'm lost. I can't think about who I am now. I'm trying to find myself in something that already happened. And for me, this is just loose threads, like puzzle pieces that could possibly say anything about us, but they don't say who we are. If I start looking in myself, I'll find memories, but I'm not my memories. I might be affected by them, but they're not who I am. Maybe I'll discover in my experiences, but that's not who I am either. Because that would mean if I have bad experiences, then I'm bad, or if I have good experiences, I'm good. No, I find fragments, but I don't find myself. Or if I think about what other people say about myself, about me, I am not what other people say I am. So whatever it is we're looking for inside ourselves, I am convinced that we are never going to find, never be able to put those pieces together, those puzzle pieces together. They are fragments. Of course, your memories mean something, what people have said to us, they formed us. But they are just pieces, they're just fragments. And try to make a jigsaw puzzle from thousands of sawn up pieces without having the picture on the box. Think about that. That's how we do. That's what we're doing if we're trying to find ourselves, looking into ourselves. We've got 1,000 fragments, but we don't have a picture of what we look like. We're never going to be able to find ourselves by putting together a puzzle when we don't know. We find fragments, pieces, and we can't put them together. For us to be whole, the one who loses himself for my sake will be found. To be made whole, Jesus has to find us. He has to show us the plan he has, the picture he has, because he's created us. He has the picture on the box of how he plans for us to be. And if we have someone that we can follow, who can show us, this is where we're going, this is what I've planned for your life. Jesus says that in verse 25. What does it help a person to win the whole world and lose themselves? Even if you win the whole world, even if you found the 1,000 puzzle pieces of yourself, it doesn't make any difference if you don't know where you're supposed to put them. And in the end, Jesus says in the end here, the one who is ashamed of me and my word, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes with the Father and the angels in his glory. And I want to encourage you today, don't be ashamed to admit that you need help to find yourself. Don't be ashamed to say, I cannot manage to make this puzzle of life myself. Don't be ashamed to believe in the gospel of Christ, that we are all in desperate need of a Savior, a shepherd who can lead us correctly. So in these special times, when we can't control our life the way we used to before, why not reevaluate? Why not be reminded and decide, I am stopping the chase, the hunt for myself, and instead I'm letting Jesus find me and let him tell me who I am in him, how I am made, and how I truly am. Amen.